The day I walked out of Bedford Hills Correctional, the autumn air hit differently than it had 5 years ago. Freedom should have tasted sweet, but all I could taste was bile rising in my throat as I looked at the photo in my trembling hands. My sister Danielle in a wedding dress, standing next to my husband Louis. My daughter Evelyn, barely visible in the background, looked so grown up it made my heart ache. My name is Maya, and until 5 years ago, I was living what I thought was the perfect life. Senior partner at a prestigious law firm, beautiful home in Westchester, and a family I would have died for. Funny how life has a way of showing you just how wrong you can be about everything. Maya. A familiar voice cut through my thoughts. I looked up to see Alana, my former colleague, waiting by her car. She rushed over and wrapped me in a tight hug. God, I've missed you. Thanks for coming, I managed, my voice rough from disuse. 5 years of minimal human contact does that to you. Get in, we have a lot to talk about. Alana's face was grim as she opened the passenger door. During the drive, she filled me in on what the newspapers hadn't. Louis and Danielle got married 2 years ago. They're living in your old house. With my daughter. The words felt like glass in my mouth. Maya, Alana glanced at me. There's more. They're trying to terminate your parental rights permanently. I closed my eyes, remembering the last time I saw Evelyn. She was 5, crying and reaching for me as they led me away in handcuffs. They can't do that. They're claiming abandonment due to incarceration. Louis has some heavyweight lawyers working on it. Abandonment? I laughed bitterly. They put me here. They orchestrated everything. I know. Alana's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. And I think I finally have proof. We pulled up to a small diner off the highway. Inside, an elegant older woman sat alone in a corner booth, her silver hair swept into a perfect chignon. My heart stopped when I recognized her. Athena? I whispered. Louis's mother looked up, her steel-gray eyes meeting mine. Hello, Maya. Please sit. Alana squeezed my shoulder and stepped away, giving us privacy. I slid into the booth, my prison-issued bag clutched in my lap like a shield. I suppose you're wondering why I'm here, Athena said, stirring her coffee. The thought crossed my mind. I know what my son did to you. She reached into her designer handbag and pulled out a thick manila envelope. And I have proof. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. Inside were bank statements, emails, and photographs, a paper trail leading straight to Louis and the fabricated evidence that had put me away. Why are you helping me? I asked, suspicious. Athena had never approved of me, had fought against our marriage from day one. Because I watched my son destroy a good woman's life. Because my granddaughter deserves better than to be raised by 2 people who could do something so despicable. She leaned forward. And because I know exactly what it's like to be betrayed by family. A waitress approached, but Athena waved her away. Louis thinks he's untouchable now. He's followed in his father's footsteps, building his life on lies and other people's misery. Her voice hardened. I stayed quiet once before, when his father did similar things. I won't make that mistake again. What do you want from me? I want justice. For you, for Evelyn, and for others they've hurt. She pulled out another document. This is a record of Louis's offshore accounts. He's been laundering money through his firm for years. The same firm where your sister is now a partner. My chest tightened. Danielle had always been jealous of my success, my marriage, my life, but I never thought she'd go this far. I have resources, Athena continued, connections, people who owe me favors. Help me bring them down, and I'll help you get your daughter back. I stared at the evidence in front of me, thinking of Evelyn growing up in a house built on lies, thinking of Louis and Danielle, sleeping in my bed, living my life, while I spent 5 years in a cell. When do we start? I asked. Athena's smile was sharp as a blade. We already have. Your friend Alana has been gathering evidence for months. We just needed you free to make the next move. Through the diner's window, I watched the sunset paint the sky blood red. 5 years ago, I was a woman who believed in the law, in justice, in family. Now I was something else, something forged in betrayal and hardened by time. They took everything from me, I said quietly. Then let's take it all back. Athena reached across the table and gripped my hand. Every last piece. Athena's penthouse apartment overlooked Central Park, the kind of place that screamed old money and carefully guarded secrets. I sat at her marble kitchen island while Alana spread documents across the surface like dealing cards. These transactions don't make sense, Alana said, pointing to a series of numbers. Lewis has been moving millions through these accounts, but his firm's declared income doesn't match up. That's because he's been cooking the books since he made partner, Athena replied, sliding a fresh cup of coffee toward me. Just like his father taught him. We need more than just suspicious transactions, I said, my lawyer's mind already working. We need concrete proof of fraud. The doorbell rang and Athena smiled. That would be our other guest. A man in his 40s walked in, his tie loosened and jacket wrinkled from a long day. I recognized him immediately. Ken? Ken Dixon, the prosecutor who'd put me away, looked different now, older, wearier. Maya, I've spent 5 years trying to figure out how I got it so wrong. You didn't get it wrong, I said. You just didn't have all the pieces. He set his briefcase on the counter. I do now, and I'm here to help make it right. Ken's been investigating Lewis's firm for the past year, Athena explained. Off the books, of course. The evidence that convicted you? Ken pulled out a thick file. It was perfect. Too perfect. I should have seen it then. Lewis had years to plan it, I said, my voice bitter. He and Danielle thought of everything. Not everything. Alana pointed to her laptop screen. Look at this. Every month, large sums move from these offshore accounts to a trust in the Caymans. The beneficiary is listed as EJ Holdings. Evelyn Jackson, I whispered. He's hiding money in our daughter's name? Classic move, Ken said. He's using her trust fund to launder money. Probably thinks no one would look too closely at a child's account. But that's not all. Athena pulled up another document on her tablet. Lewis has been bribing judges, 3 of them, including the one who presided over your case. My hands clenched around my coffee cup. How do we prove it? We already have proof. Ken smiled grimly. One of the judges came forward last month. He's wearing a wire. The thing about my son, Athena said, pouring herself a drink, is that he inherited his father's arrogance along with his corruption. He thinks he's untouchable. A notification pinged on Alana's laptop. She clicked it open and gasped. Maya, you need to see this. It was an email from Danielle to Lewis, dated just before my arrest. Everything's in place. The evidence will lead exactly where we want it to. She'll never see it coming. My vision blurred with tears of rage. My own sister... We can use this, Ken said quietly. But we need to be smart. If we move too fast, Lewis will bury everything. I want to see Evelyn, I said suddenly. I need to see my daughter. The room fell silent. Finally, Athena spoke. She's at dance class every Tuesday afternoon. The studio on 73rd Street. Maya, Alana warned. If Lewis or Danielle find out... I don't care. I stood up. I've missed 5 years of her life. I'm not missing another day. Ken reached into his pocket and handed me a business card. My private number. Call me if anything goes wrong. The next afternoon, I stood across the street from the dance studio, my heart pounding. Through the large windows, I could see young girls in leotards at the bar. And there she was, my Evelyn, taller now, her dark hair in a neat bun. She moved with grace, serious and focused, just like I remembered. She has your determination. I spun around. David, my childhood friend, stood there with a sad smile. Alana called me, he explained. Thought you might need backup. David... I hadn't seen him since the trial, where he'd tried desperately to defend me. I'm sorry I pushed you away. You did what you had to do to survive. He touched my arm gently, but you're not alone anymore. The dance class ended and girls began streaming out. Evelyn emerged, scrolling through her phone. She looked up and our eyes met across the street. For a moment, time stopped. Mom? Her voice was barely a whisper, but I heard it clear as a bell. Before I could move, a car pulled up. Danielle stepped out, her designer sunglasses hiding her eyes. "Evelyn! Time to go, honey!" My daughter looked between us, confusion and something else, fear on her face. Danielle followed her gaze and froze when she saw me. "Maya." She took a step forward. David's hand tightened on my arm. "Not here," he murmured. "Not now." I watched as Danielle hurried Evelyn into the car, my sister's hands shaking as she closed the door. Before they drove away, Evelyn pressed her palm against the window, her eyes locked on mine. "Soon," I promised silently. "I'm coming for you soon." She saw me. I paced Athena's living room, unable to sit still. "Danielle will tell Louis." "Good," Athena said, typing rapidly on her laptop. "Let him get rattled. People make mistakes when they're scared." David handed me a glass of water. "Maya, sit down before you wear a hole in that expensive carpet." My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. My hand shook as I read it. "Mom, is that really you? Please answer." "Evelyn," I breathed. "But how?" "She's 10, Maya," David said gently. "Kids that age know how to get burner accounts." I started typing, but Athena grabbed my phone. "Wait, we need to be careful. They could be monitoring her devices." The doorbell rang. Alana burst in, waving a USB drive. "You're not going to believe what I found. Louis has been busy since you went away." She plugged the drive into Athena's computer and pulled up several documents. "These are records of property purchases, all through shell companies. But look at the dates." "These align perfectly with his major court victories," I said, scanning the documents. "Properties bought just days after winning cases." "Kickbacks," David muttered. "He was getting paid under the table. There's more." Alana clicked through more files. "Remember Judge Harrison?" My blood ran cold. Judge Harrison had presided over my case. "What about him?" "He bought a vacation home in Bermuda 3 weeks after your conviction. Guess who handled the transaction?" "Louis," Athena finished, "through one of his shell companies." My phone buzzed again. Another message from Evelyn. "Mom, Aunt Danielle is crying in her room. Dad's yelling. I'm scared." Before anyone could stop me, I typed back, "I love you, sweetheart. Stay strong. Everything will be okay soon." "Maya," Athena warned, but I held up my hand. "She needs to know she's not alone." My voice cracked. "She needs to know her mother didn't abandon her." The door flew open. Ken rushed in, his face flushed. "We have a problem. Judge Harrison was found dead in his office an hour ago." The room went silent. "Suicide?" David asked. Ken shook his head. "Made to look like it, but my contact in homicide says the scene feels staged." "Louis," Athena whispered. "He's cleaning house." My phone rang. Danielle's number. Everyone stared as I answered and put it on speaker. "Maya?" Her voice was shaky. "Please, I need to talk to you." "There's nothing to say." "You don't understand. Louis, he's not who you think. He's not who I thought." She lowered her voice. "I found something in his office. Something bad. Really bad. Why should I trust you?" "Because I'm scared, Maya. For me. For Evelyn." She started crying. "He's been acting strange since he saw you at the dance studio. Making calls. Shredding documents. He has a gun now." Alana was already tracing the call, mouthing, "Keep her talking." "Why did you do it, Danielle?" I asked, the question that had haunted me for 5 years. "Why did you help him destroy me?" "Because I was in love with him. Because I was jealous. You always had everything, the grades, the career, the perfect life. I wanted it. I wanted what you had." She took a shuddering breath. "But not like this. Not anymore." "Where's Evelyn now?" "At home, in her room. Louis is at the office." A pause. "Maya, there's a safe in his study. The combination is Evelyn's birthday. Everything you need is in there." Ken was already on his phone, speaking quietly to someone. "Danielle," I said, "if you're setting me up again—" "I'm not. I swear on Mom and Dad's graves." Another pause. "I'm so sorry, Maya. For everything." The line went dead. "Got it," Alana said. "She's at your old house." "It could be a trap," David warned. Or it could be our chance, Ken said, hanging up his phone. I can have a warrant within the hour. Athena stood up. I'm coming with you. No, I said firmly. I need you to do something else. If this goes wrong, someone needs to be ready to take Evelyn. She nodded, understanding. I'll have my driver standing by. Maya, David caught my arm. Let me come with you. Please. I looked at my old friend, seeing the concern in his eyes. Okay, but we do this my way. Ken checked his watch. Warrant will be ready in 40 minutes. We move then. I picked up my phone and sent one last message to Evelyn. Whatever happens tonight, remember I love you more than anything in this world. The response came seconds later. I love you too, Mom. Come get me. Athena handed me a small key. To the back door, Louis never changed the locks. He was too arrogant to think anyone would dare break in. As we gathered our things, I caught my reflection in the window. 5 years ago, I was a victim. Tonight, I was something else entirely. Let's go get my daughter, I said. The house looked exactly the same. White colonial, black shutters, maple tree in the front yard where Evelyn's old swing still hung. But now police cars lined the street, their lights off, waiting. Remember, Ken whispered as we crouched behind the hedges. We have 15 minutes before the warrant arrives. We're just here to get Evelyn and any evidence in that safe. David squeezed my hand. You sure about this? I nodded, clutching the key Athena had given me. Through the kitchen window, I could see Danielle pacing, phone pressed to her ear. Now, Ken signaled. We moved silently around to the back door. The key slid in smoothly, just like it had hundreds of times before. Inside, the house smelled different. Unfamiliar perfume, different laundry detergent. Wrong. Danielle spun around as we entered. Maya! Thank God! Her mascara was streaked with tears. Louis is coming. He knows something's wrong. Where's Evelyn? I demanded. Upstairs. She's... Mom? Evelyn appeared at the top of the stairs, still in her dance clothes. She flew down the steps and into my arms. I held her tight, breathing in her familiar scent. Baby, I missed you so much. I knew you'd come back, she whispered. I knew you weren't bad like they said. The safe, Ken reminded me gently. We need to hurry. David stayed with Evelyn while Danielle led us to Louis's study. The safe was hidden behind a painting. My old favorite, I noticed bitterly. 8:15:12, Danielle recited. Evelyn's birthday. The safe clicked open. Inside were stacks of documents, USB drives, and a small black notebook. That's his ledger, Danielle said. All his contacts, all the bribes, everything. Headlights swept across the windows. A car door slammed. He's here, Danielle whispered, face draining of color. Ken grabbed the safe's contents. Maya, take Evelyn and go. Now. The front door opened. Danielle? Louis's voice. Why are all the lights on? I ran for the stairs, but Evelyn was already heading down, David behind her. Well, well. Louis stood in the foyer, blocking the exit. He looked exactly the same. Handsome, well-dressed, cold eyes. Family reunion? It's over, Louis, I said, pushing Evelyn behind me. We have everything. He smiled, reaching into his jacket. No, Maya, you have nothing. The gun looked black and deadly in his manicured hand. Daddy, no! Evelyn screamed. Be quiet, sweetheart. The adults are talking. His eyes fixed on Danielle. You betrayed me. You betrayed all of us first, Danielle shot back, her voice shaking. You're just like your father, a monster in an expensive suit. Funny you should mention my father. Louis's smile widened. Did you know he didn't really die of a heart attack? Mother Dearest helped him along with his medication. Isn't that right, Mom? Athena stepped through the front door, making us all jump. You knew? I found the proof last year. Been keeping it as insurance. He gestured with the gun. Speaking of insurance, Maya, did you really think I wouldn't have cameras in my own house? Everything that's happened tonight is recorded. Self-defense will be easy to prove when I find intruders in my home. Drop the gun, Louis. Ken emerged from the study, his own weapon drawn. Police are outside. It's finished. Nothing's finished. Louis's composure cracked. I built this life. Everything I have, I earned. By stealing my life? I stepped forward. By taking my daughter? By killing a judge? I did it for us, he said to Evelyn. Everything I did was to give you a better life. You took my mom away, Evelyn cried. You lied to me. Put the gun down, Ken repeated. Don't make this worse. Lewis's hand trembled. I can't go to prison. I can't. Lewis! Athena's voice cracked like a whip. Look at your daughter. Look at what you're doing to her. For a moment, something human flickered in his eyes. Then sirens wailed outside, and red and blue lights flooded the windows. No! He raised the gun. 3 things happened at once. Danielle lunged for Lewis, Ken fired, and David tackled me and Evelyn to the ground. The gunshot seemed to echo forever. When I looked up, Lewis was on the floor clutching his shoulder. Danielle had his gun, hands shaking as she held it on him. Police burst through the door shouting commands. Someone help me up. Evelyn clung to me, sobbing. Maya? David touched my face. You okay? I nodded, watching as officers handcuffed Lewis. He locked eyes with me as they led him past. You'll regret this, he spat. No, I said quietly. I only regret trusting you in the first place. Athena approached Lewis, her face hard. Your father would be proud. You managed to destroy this family even more thoroughly than he did. As they took him away, Evelyn's small hand slipped into mine. Can I come home with you now? I pulled her close, feeling David's steady presence behind us. Yes, baby, we're going home. Outside, the night was alive with police lights and voices, but all I could feel was my daughter's hand in mine, and the weight of 5 years finally lifting from my shoulders. The courthouse buzzed with tension as I sat beside Ken, watching Lewis being led to the witness stand. 2 weeks had passed since that night at the house, and now everything was coming to light. Please state your name for the record, the judge said. Lewis Michael Jackson. His arm was still in a sling, his designer suit replaced by one that seemed a size too large. He wouldn't look at me. Mr. Jackson, Ken stood. Let's discuss the events leading up to your first wife's imprisonment. Objection! Lewis's attorney jumped up. My client's previous testimony is now in question due to new evidence, the judge cut in. Proceed, Mr. Dixon. Ken held up the black notebook from the safe. Can you identify this? Lewis's jaw tightened. It appears to be my personal notebook. The one where you recorded your bribes? The payments to Judge Harrison? I want to make a statement, Lewis said suddenly. His attorney looked startled. Lewis, we discussed. I need to speak. He finally looked at me, then at Evelyn, who sat between David and Athena in the gallery. I did it, all of it. I framed Maya. I bribed Harrison. He swallowed. I arranged his death when he threatened to confess. A gasp rippled through the courtroom. Evelyn buried her face in David's shoulder. And your current wife, Danielle Rose? Ken pressed. What was her role? She didn't know about Harrison. That was all me. Lewis's voice cracked. But she helped frame Maya. We both wanted what? Everything she had. The words seemed to deflate him. Maya was perfect. The perfect lawyer, perfect wife, perfect mother. Danielle always resented her success. And I needed her gone to access certain accounts, to hide what I'd been doing at the firm. Ken nodded to the bailiff, who opened the courtroom doors. Danielle walked in, escorted by 2 officers. She looked small, defeated. Ms. Rose, Ken said, please tell the court what you discovered in your husband's study the night of his arrest. Danielle's voice shook. Records, proof that he'd been embezzling from client accounts for years, that he'd arranged Harrison's murder, and, she looked at me, evidence that he'd planned Maya's frame-up months in advance. He used my jealousy against me, made me think it was my idea. Your Honor, Ken turned to the judge, the state moves to immediately vacate Maya's conviction based on this testimony and the supporting evidence. So ordered, the judge said without hesitation. Ms. Jackson's record will be expunged. Lewis slumped in the witness box. I'm sorry, he whispered. Save it, I said, loud enough for him to hear. You're only sorry you got caught. The rest of the hearing passed in a blur. Lewis and Danielle were both taken into custody, him for murder and fraud, her for conspiracy. As people filed out of the courtroom, Evelyn ran to me. "Is it really over?" she asked. "Almost." I smoothed her hair. "We still have the custody hearing tomorrow." "That won't be necessary," a voice said. We turned to see Lewis's attorney. "My client has agreed to surrender all parental rights. He says—" The lawyer glanced at his notes. "He says it's the least he can do." Athena approached, her heels clicking on the marble floor. "Well, that's one decent decision he's made." "Mom?" Evelyn tugged my sleeve. "Can we see Aunt Danielle before they take her away?" I hesitated, but David touched my shoulder. "Let her say goodbye." Danielle was waiting in a conference room, handcuffed and guarded. She started crying when she saw Evelyn. "I'm so sorry," she said to both of us. "Maya, I know I can never make it right." "No," I agreed, "you can't. But you helped bring him down in the end. That counts for something." "Will you write to me?" Evelyn asked her. "From where you're going?" Danielle wiped her eyes. "If your mom says it's okay." I nodded slightly. Despite everything, she was still my sister, still Evelyn's aunt. Short letters, supervised. "Thank you," Danielle whispered as the guards led her away. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. David and Athena formed a protective barrier while Ken handled the press. "Maya!" one reporter broke through. "How does it feel to be exonerated?" I pulled Evelyn close. "Ask me in a few months. Right now, I just want to take my daughter home." "And where is home now?" another called out. "With me," David said firmly, surprising us all. "For as long as they want." Later that night, after Evelyn had fallen asleep in the guest room of David's apartment, he found me on the balcony. "Penny for your thoughts?" "I thought revenge would feel better," I admitted. "More satisfying." "Maybe because it wasn't really revenge in the end," he said. "It was justice." I leaned against him, feeling the warmth of his body, the steadiness I'd always taken for granted. "When did you get so wise?" "Around the same time you stopped being so stubborn," he smiled. "Welcome back to the world, Maya." Inside, Evelyn called out in her sleep. As I went to comfort her, I realized David was right. This wasn't an ending fueled by revenge. It was a beginning built on truth. And maybe, just maybe, that was better. "Mom, do I have to go to school today?" Evelyn stood in David's kitchen, pushing her cereal around the bowl. 2 months had passed since the trial, but some mornings were still harder than others. "What's really bothering you, sweetheart?" "Jamie Thompson told everyone her dad says I come from a family of criminals." She dropped her spoon. "She said I'll probably end up in jail, too." I knelt beside her chair. "Look at me. The actions of Lewis and Danielle don't define you, or me." "But—" The doorbell rang. David answered it, and Athena swept in, elegant as ever. "Good morning, my darlings." "Evelyn, ready for our special day?" I raised an eyebrow. "Special day?" "Grandmother's privilege." Athena winked. "I'm taking her out of school. We have a court date." My stomach dropped. "What court date?" "The reading of Harrison's sealed testimony." She held up an official-looking envelope. "His wife found it in their safe. He recorded everything before—" She glanced at Evelyn. "Before the incident." "I want to go," Evelyn said firmly. "I need to understand." David touched my shoulder. "I'll come too." The courthouse was quieter this time. No media circus, just a small conference room where Ken waited with a video setup. Judge Harrison's wife sat in the corner, gray-faced but composed. "You don't have to watch this," I told Evelyn. "Yes, I do." She gripped my hand. "I'm not a baby anymore." The video started. Harrison looked tired, haunted. "If you're watching this, I'm probably dead. Lewis Jackson will have made sure of that." He detailed everything: the bribes, the threats, the systematic corruption that had poisoned the justice system. Then he looked directly at the camera. "Maya, I failed you. I knew the evidence was fabricated, but I took the money anyway. My wife was sick, the treatments were expensive. But those are excuses. I destroyed an innocent woman's life. Evelyn's hand tightened in mine. But Lewis Jackson's crimes go deeper. He's been working with a human trafficking ring, using his firm to launder their money. The proof is in a storage unit under his wife's maiden name. Unit 247, Riverside Storage. Ken was already on his phone, calling it in. And Danielle, Harrison sighed. She came to me last year, wanted to confess. Lewis threatened to kill her if she did. She's as much a victim as she is a perpetrator. The video ended. Mrs. Harrison stood slowly. My husband was a good man who made terrible choices, she said. He paid for them with his life, but he wanted the truth known. An hour later, we watched from Ken's office window as FBI agents raided the storage unit. Box after box of evidence emerged. This is bigger than we thought, Ken said grimly. Lewis wasn't just corrupt, he was part of an international criminal organization. My phone buzzed. A text from Danielle's prison account. They're moving me to witness protection. Lewis has connections inside. I'm scared. She needs to testify, Ken said, reading over my shoulder. She knows names, dates, everything. Will she be safe? I asked. We'll make sure of it. He paused. Maya, we need you too. Your old case files might contain evidence we missed. Evelyn, who'd been quiet since the video, suddenly spoke up. Mom was the best lawyer ever. She'll help catch all the bad guys. David smiled. She sure will. That evening, back at David's apartment, Evelyn was finally ready to talk. I used to think Daddy was a hero, she said, curled up on the couch between us. That you were the bad guy. I'm sorry. You have nothing to be sorry for, I told her. You were just a little girl. I'm not anymore. She sat up straighter. And I want to help. I remember things, conversations, people who came to the house. Maybe it could help catch them. David and I exchanged looks. It could be dangerous, he warned. I'm not afraid. She had my determination in her eyes. They hurt our family. They hurt lots of families. Someone has to stop them. My phone buzzed again. Athena. Board meeting tomorrow. Lewis's partners are running scared. Time to take back your firm. What do you say, Mom? Evelyn asked. Can we fight back? Together? I looked at my daughter, seeing not just the little girl I'd lost, but the strong young woman she was becoming. At David, who'd stood by us through everything. At the life we were rebuilding, stronger than before. Together, I agreed. But first, you need to face Jamie Thompson. She grinned. Already handled it. Told her my mom's a hero who fights for justice. Shut her right up. David laughed. That's our girl. As Evelyn headed to bed, she paused in the doorway. Mom, I'm glad you never gave up. On justice? On us. After she left, David pulled me close. You know this isn't over. Lewis's organization will fight back. Let them try. I thought of Harrison's confession, of Danielle's fear, of all the lives destroyed by corruption. We have something they don't. What's that? The truth. And this time we're not letting it stay buried. The law firm's conference room fell silent as I walked in, Athena at my side. 15 partners sat around the mahogany table, faces I'd once known well, now pale with worry. Gentlemen, Athena smiled coldly, I believe you know why we're here. You have no right, Thomas, the managing partner, started. Actually, she does. Alana entered, carrying a stack of files. As majority shareholder, Athena has every right to call this meeting, and as the wrongfully convicted former partner, Maya has every right to be here. You're all implicated, I said, dropping Harrison's files on the table. Every single one of you knew what Lewis was doing. Some of you helped him. That's ridiculous, Patricia, a senior partner, protested. We had no idea. Save it. I slid surveillance photos across the table. You at dinner with known trafficking suspects. You signing documents for shell companies. You depositing unexplained cash into offshore accounts. The door opened again. Ken walked in with 2 FBI agents. Oh God, Thomas whispered. You have a choice, I said. Cooperate now. Tell us everything you know about Lewis's operation or go down with him. They'll kill us, Patricia's voice shook. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Actually, we do. Ken placed a laptop on the table, started a video. This is from an hour ago. The screen showed a warehouse raid. Dozens of arrests, evidence being seized, women being rescued from shipping containers. Your operation is falling apart, Athena said. Lewis talked. Danielle talked. Now it's your turn. My phone buzzed. David. Evelyn safe at school. Extra security in place. Think about your families, I pressed. Your children. Do you want them visiting you in prison? Or worse? Thomas broke first. The Russian connection. It wasn't our idea. Lewis said we just had to look the other way. Looking the way makes you complicit, Ken said, but cooperation might help your sentence. One by one, they started talking. Names, dates, locations poured out. The FBI agents recorded everything. My phone buzzed again. An unknown number. The message made my blood freeze. You should have stayed in prison. Now your daughter pays. I showed Ken the message. He immediately called the school. No answer, he said. I was already running for the door when Alana caught my arm. Maya, wait, it's a trap. I don't care. Listen to me. She held up her phone. David just texted. Evelyn's fine. She's with him. Someone pulled the school's fire alarm, but he got her out first. I sagged against the wall, heart pounding. They're desperate, Athena said. This proves we're close. Ken's phone rang. His face turned serious as he listened. Understood. He hung up. Lewis is dead. Found in his cell an hour ago. Suicide? Thomas asked. Made to look like it. Ken's eyes met mine. Just like Harrison. They're cleaning house, Athena realized. Where's Danielle? I demanded. Safe house in Vermont, Ken assured me. But we need to move fast. This organization is collapsing, and they'll try to destroy evidence. My phone buzzed again. David. At your apartment with Evelyn. Something you need to see. Go, Athena said. We'll handle things here. I found David and Evelyn in my living room, staring at an open safe I'd never seen before. It was behind the bookshelf, Evelyn said. I remembered Lewis putting things in it when he thought I was asleep. Inside were more files, USB drives, and a handwritten letter from Lewis. Maya, if you're reading this, I'm probably dead. I knew they'd kill me eventually. Everything you need is here. Names of corrupt judges, politicians, business leaders, the whole network. I'm sorry for what I did to you, to us. Keep Evelyn safe. They'll never stop coming. The only way out is to expose everything. L. He knew, David said quietly. He knew they'd turn on him. Mom? Evelyn touched my arm. What do we do now? Before I could answer, Ken called. Maya, turn on the news. The TV flickered to life. Breaking news banner. Major human trafficking ring exposed. Multiple arrests across 5 countries. It's happening, Ken said. The whole thing's unraveling. But watch your back. Cornered animals are the most dangerous. I looked at Evelyn, so brave and strong. At David, steady and true. At the evidence that could finally end this nightmare. We finished this, I said. Not for revenge anymore. For justice. Together, Evelyn said firmly. David took my hand. Always. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. The city was waking up to a new reality, one where the powerful weren't untouchable anymore. And somewhere in the chaos, truth was finally breaking free. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters as I walked up them, Evelyn's hand in mine, David and Athena flanking us. This time, I wasn't here as a defendant or a victim. I was here to testify. Ready? Ken met us at the doors. Tell me again who's on trial today, Evelyn asked. 3 judges, 2 senators, and 4 corporate executives, Ken replied. All part of Lewis's network. Inside, Danielle waited in the witness room, looking different in her witness protection makeover. Maya? She hugged Evelyn, then stepped back. They're saying there are still people out there, people we missed. That's why we're here, I said, to finish this. The courtroom was packed. As I took the stand, I saw familiar faces in the gallery, partners from the firm, their families, victims of the trafficking ring. Even Mrs. Harrison sat there, nodding encouragingly. "Ms. Jackson," the prosecutor began, "please tell the court about the evidence you found in Louis Jackson's hidden safe." I detailed everything: the money trails, the blackmail, the complex web of corruption that had ensnared so many lives. As I spoke, one of the defendants, Judge Reynolds, started whispering urgently to his lawyer. "Your Honor," Reynolds' attorney stood, "my client wishes to make a statement." The judge nodded. Reynolds approached the stand. "There's a shipping container," he said quietly. "Arriving tonight. Pier 17. More girls. I can't live with this anymore." The courtroom erupted. Ken was already on his phone, mobilizing teams. "Court is adjourned until tomorrow," the judge announced over the chaos. Outside, Athena grabbed my arm. "Maya, look." A black SUV was idling across the street. The window rolled down, revealing a face I recognized from Lewis's files. Victor, the trafficking ring's enforcer. "Get Evelyn out of here," I told David. "Mom, no," Evelyn protested. "Go with David, please." As they retreated inside, Victor stepped out of the SUV. "Ms. Jackson, we should talk." "Nothing to talk about." "There's always something," he smiled coldly. "Your daughter is very pretty." My blood froze, but before I could respond, police cars surrounded the SUV. Ken emerged from the courthouse, weapon drawn. "Victor Petrov," he called, "you're under arrest." Victor reached into his jacket. Multiple shots rang out. He fell, gun clattering away unfired. "Mom!" Evelyn ran back outside, David close behind. "I'm okay," I assured her. "It's over." But it wasn't quite over. That night, we gathered in Ken's office, watching live feeds from Pier 17. SWAT teams moved in, freeing 37 women and arresting a dozen traffickers. "They're singing like birds," Ken reported, giving up everyone involved. Danielle, who'd been quiet all day, finally spoke. "I keep thinking about how it all started, how my jealousy of you led to all this." "You helped end it," I reminded her. "That counts for something." "Maya." Athena entered, holding papers. "The firm's board voted. They want you back as managing partner." I looked at David, saw the question in his eyes. "No," I said. "I have a different idea." The next morning, I stood before the firm's remaining partners. "We're converting the firm into a nonprofit, dedicated to helping trafficking victims, fighting corruption, providing pro bono services to those who need it most." "Can we do that?" Patricia asked. "With Athena's backing and my leadership? Yes." "I'm in," Alana said immediately. One by one, they all agreed. Later, at David's apartment, our apartment now, Evelyn worked on homework while David cooked dinner. "Mom," she called, "my essay topic is what justice means. Can I write about you?" "Write about all of us," I said, "about how truth always finds a way, about how love is stronger than hate." "About family," David added, bringing plates to the table. "The ones we're born with and the ones we choose." My phone buzzed. Ken. "Last defendant pleaded guilty. It's really over." "Mom?" Evelyn asked. "Are you crying?" "Happy tears," I assured her. "Just happy tears." The doorbell rang. Athena entered with Danielle, who looked nervous. "I'm leaving for my new life tomorrow," she said, "but I wanted to say goodbye properly." Evelyn hugged her aunt. "Will we ever see you again?" "Someday," I said, surprising myself. "When it's safe." "I don't deserve forgiveness," Danielle whispered. "Maybe not. But you deserve a chance to be better. We all do." As we sat down to dinner, this strange, broken, healing family, I thought about justice and revenge, about truth and redemption, about how sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. "To new beginnings," David proposed. "To family," Athena added. "To justice," Evelyn said firmly. I looked around the table, at all these faces I loved, and raised my glass. To all of it, every messy, beautiful piece. Outside, the city lights twinkled like stars, each one a reminder that even in the darkest places, light finds a way to shine through.